Welcome to Architects of Change, the official podcast of the National Dental Association. This is where legacy informs leadership, purpose drives progress, and power is used to build systems that endure. Today's episode is titled Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. Dr. Bellamy is joined by the 89th President of the National Dental Association, Dr. Edward Chappelle. Now, here's your host, the 102nd President of the National Dental Association, Dr. Wallace J. Bellamy.
Today, I'm honored to be joined by one of these giants, one of the very first leaders I met when I was a new delegate from District 6 in the House of Delegates. Smooth with a baritone voice, calm, grace under pressure, accommodating to everyone. Former Speaker of the House of Delegates, former Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and current Treasurer. His service represents leadership as well as institutional memory. Please welcome the 89th President of the National Dental Association, Dr. Ed Chappelle. Dr. Chappelle, thank you for being here.
My pleasure, obviously.
Awesome. Give us a brief history of the beginnings of the NDA.
Well, after kind of going through a history of African Americans in dentistry, I learned quite a bit, but one of the major books that really goes into the history of the National Dental Association was NDA 2, written by Dr. Clifton O. Dummett. And that really gets into the whole history of African Americans in dentistry. The NDA was founded basically in 1913 as the Tri-State Dental Association. It was a combination of the Robert T. Freeman Dental Society here in Washington, D.C., the Maryland Dental Society, and the Old Dominion Dental Society in Virginia. Out of that, as the organization continued to grow and add other chapters around the country, in 1932, it was able to change its name to the National Dental Association, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
You've seen generations of NDA leadership. What core values have endured, and which one cannot be compromised?
Wow, that's an interesting one. I think when we talk about core values, we talk about family. We talk about integrity, and we talk about not compromising who we are and what we stand for. Those are the three most important things that I think at this particular point in time. We are a family, and regardless of what anybody says, this is certainly an African American core value in itself. Integrity, because of our commitment to healthcare, is extremely important. We all take that oath where we promise not to do any harm to our patients, but that's part of our integrity. And doing the right thing, even when no one's looking. We cannot compromise that at all. And last but not least, we have to make sure that we don't compromise ourselves by, let's call it, selling out, by thinking that money or other kinds of things will solve our issues. It's hard work and dedication that make the significant difference.
What moments tested the NDA most, and what did leadership require in those moments? Now, we're living in very interesting times here. I want you to equate what has happened in the past to what is happening today.
Well, one of the reasons why the NDA was formed was to actually create a forum for African American dentists to get together and not only socialize, but discuss dentistry in general, share information, mainly because we weren't allowed to join those other organizations. So the ADA was founded, early in the middle 1800s, and, they didn't think much of African Americans at that particular point in time. However, we know from a historical perspective that African Americans have built this country. African Americans have been integral to building everything that we see, even though that history sometimes is obscured or those people have tried to erase it. And we're seeing some of that, come along right now, where they're trying to erase history by not talking about it, removing it from books and from higher education institutions, museums, and acting like these things didn't exist, but they do, and we know that they do. And it's up to us to continue to promote and to advocate for us as African Americans, but not only that, advocate for healthcare for African Americans in this country.
Dr. Chappelle, early and mid-career dentists and students will be the new architects of their own change. If you could hand today's leaders one non-negotiable lesson, what would it be?
That's an interesting question. In that it's hard to confine that to, one or two things. It's something that you kind of get out of dental school. And I think the main thing is perseverance, being able to persevere through all of the mess, the stuff that is thrown at you on a daily basis. You kind of get that idea through dental school. I had a little label in my dental school box. I said, dental school is like pledging. Um, and you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. They put you through all this in order to get to this elite club. But it's forming you and creating the person and the kind of practitioner that you will be. So perseverance. Things may look bleak sometimes, but you have to continue to persevere if you want to succeed. So that's it.
Dr. Chappelle, you've been a gracious guest. Is there anything that you would like to tell our broader audience here and our members?
I think, as we kind of move into the future, I really want to see this organization continue to expand and grow. I feel like, our present leadership is key to that. I feel like everybody is starting to actually see the vision. It's not a matter of using the National Dental Association as a stepping stone, but it's a matter of being part of an organization that has a long history that we want to see continue into the future. And when the history books are written, our names may not be in it, but that's okay. If the organization is here and it's still viable and it's still helping to form great leaders, great dentists, and contributing to the art and science of dentistry, that's what's important. And that's what I want to see. I want to make sure that we continue to reach back and make sure that we're helping others get to that level. And hopefully they will feel the same way. So this is something that hopefully will go on in perpetuity.
I want to thank you for being our featured guest in episode 2 of Architects of Change. Your voice, your perspective, and your continued dedication to this organization has added depth and meaning to this conversation. And it's reminding us what NDA leadership truly looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, the 89th President of the National Dental Association, Dr. Ed Chappelle, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
There's a temptation to treat legacy just as something we preserve, something we place behind glass to reference and to admire. However, legacy is also a useful metric to measure our progress. And the leaders who came before us did not build the National Dental Association so that it could remain comfortable. They built it so that it could remain relevant, so that it could respond to the needs of its time and prepare for a future they may never see. Dr. Chappelle's leadership reminds us of that progress. Progress is deliberate, it's intentional, and it's focused. That power also exudes responsibility through mentorship and stewardship. And that stewardship means leaving the organization stronger than we found it. To our students and emergent leaders, you do not stand behind this legacy. You stand firmly with it. And what and how you choose to build at this moment, at this time, will determine how future generations remember this moment and your moments to come. We honor the giants not by standing still, but by building something worthy of their weary shoulders. Thank you again, Dr. Chappelle. On our next episode, we turn fully to the future, rebuilding dentistry for the next generation. Until then, remember, we are not just participants of change, we are its architects, the architects of change. I'm Dr. Wallace Bellamy.